It is therefore fitting that this conference invites us to reflect on the Supreme Court's jurisprudence over the past 12 years. In doing so, we recognize both successes and areas for critique as we consider the court's evolution, its impact on Kenya's constitutional landscape, and its commitment to protecting the rights and aspirations of all Kenyans. True to the court's philosophy, bold honesty is the best policy, and this occasion calls us to reflect candidly on its journey, progress, challenges, and impact. To appreciate the achievement represented by the Supreme Court's creation, we must revisit the hard lessons of the 2007 presidential election crisis. That crisis exposed deep-seated systemic failures and a profound erosion of public trust in our electoral and judicial processes, fracturing the people's trust in the rule of law. Consequently, a disputed election outcome triggered underlying conflicts that nearly drove the nation to the brink of almost total collapse. It was realized then that rebuilding trust and restoring faith in the rule of law was indispensable, and that a credible, authoritative mechanism for resolving presidential election disputes was the only way to prevent elections from threatening rather than renewing our nationhood. The 2010 Constitution, therefore, established the Supreme Court as a unique institution with hybrid jurisdiction, symbolizing its special status. Its exclusive original jurisdiction over presidential election disputes is a legacy of the 2000 never again moment. Its hybrid appellate jurisdiction, which depends on the existence of a unique issue deserving authoritative determination by the court, aims to restore confidence in the judiciary, while its advisory mandate enables state organs and county governments to seek authoritative guidance on best practice for policy formulation and also policy implementation. There is no doubt that the Supreme Court has not been short of critics during the past 12 years. Its decisions have been and will be debated and dissected vigorously, and in a number of cases, disagreements will linger for long. Nevertheless, it would be unduly pessimistic to overlook the court's clear efforts to interpret the Constitution with wisdom, reinforcing pillars of democracy, justice, equality, freedom, good governance, accountability, and the rule of law in a very robust way with immense clarity. Sometimes citizens, including myself agree, sometimes we don't, but we are bound to respect. It has pronounced itself on a broad range of pertinent issues across legal landscape, and in so doing entrenched certain principles and values as non-negotiable procedural and substantive elements of good policy. It is because the court has been emphatic in its dispositions and firm in its guidance of subordinate courts that Kenyans are confident that their rights are intact and due process is indispensable. In turn, this confidence has fostered courage, openness, and vigor in our society, values the Constitution envisioned for the Supreme Court and the judiciary in terms of being faithful to what the Constitution expected of the judiciary. We can confidently say you have passed the mark. It is therefore quite fair to say that the court has stood as a faithful custodian of our Constitution, a defender of fundamental rights, and a pillar of democracy. Its sustained capacity to resolve complex constitutional matters remains critical to our nation's institutional vitality now and going into the future. Even as we celebrate the court's achievements we must recognize that there remains some way to go for us to reach the Constitution's promised land, that the pursuit of justice is unending, and that as long as we are free and a democratic nation, competition and disagreement will require resolution. 14 years after the promulgation of the Constitution, we continue on the journey of implementing the vision for a stable, secure, prosperous, open, and democratic society grounded in freedom, justice, and the rule of law. And central to this monumental endeavor is the Supreme Court, which has guided the judiciary in orienting the national ideology towards the legitimate pursuit of every aspiration and resisting the temptation to compromise our values for the illusion of political expediency, however well-meaning. 12 years after its establishment, it is difficult for us to imagine how the Republic of Kenya existed for many decades without a Supreme Court. It has helped us reject the many false dichotomies that once constrained our policies and politics, including the belief that freedom must be sacrificed for security and that democracy and stability are mutually exclusive, or that sustainable development is the monopoly of the centralized government. Since the establishment of Kenya's Supreme Court, an iconic institution that, along with devolution and the Bill of Rights, stands as one of the most transformative innovations in our progressive 2010 Constitution. As Kenya's apex judicial body, the Supreme Court is entrusted with the sacrosanct mandate to uphold and promote the purpose and principles of our constitutional order. By virtue of its unique complement of exclusive, original, appellate, and advisory jurisdictions, it possesses the necessary authority to arbitrate, to advise, and to guide the institutions of our republic as they perform their roles of giving full expression to the will of the people as inscribed in our Constitution. The Supreme Court, therefore, serves a powerful symbolic role as the highest representation of the values and institutions of justice in our land and the fulfillment of people's determined quest for a judiciary grounded in inclusivity, fairness, justice, and constitutionalism. It was designed not merely to interpret law, but also to resolutely underwrite and defend justice for all Kenyans.